fringe guys, everybody's favorite part. Carl, I'll let you go first because I'm going to finish so strong.
All right, pause. Well, I'm going to go with I'm going to go with a quick back-to-back here, just to keep the time nice and concise here. I'll go with Monte Morris on the Denver Nuggets, playing 26.5 minutes a game, owned at 20.2% of leagues, averaging about 11.8, 2.4, 3.1, and combined blocks and steals 1.1. The big thing was, like when MPJ came back off a COVID protocol, like would his minutes change or anything? And his role is not changing. He's going to be used in a lot of those rotations, when they have to spell Jamal Murray, the guy we shouted out earlier. He's going to have valuable time for this team. It's a guy I would watch list right now. And on, I'd say matchups that are weak against guarding guards, be a nice plug and play. And then this is just my next guy is a strict watch list. And also watch list / I'd say, like if you really just need a replacement one day and you just need a guy who's going to play. This isn't for necessarily upcoming week. This is a season-wide watch, I'd say. Ricky Rubio. So Ricky Rubio, nothing really jumps out for you statistically off the bat. Only averaging about 6 points, 3.2 rebounds, but 5.5 assists is pretty solid for the amount of time that he plays. And when he does shoot, he doesn't shoot too much, and they're usually very high percentage shots. So he's going to have a big role. He still has a big role in the Timberwolves, who are dumpster fire right now. We got to hopefully, I have a couple of Timberwolves fans who are waiting for this. And yes, I'm a Wizards fan. I know a dumpster fire when I see one. Wolves are a dumpster fire right now. But, in matchups, when I think that there's, less experienced point guards, he'll be able to, get in passing lanes, get steals, and get assists. And so for those days where you're just scrambling, looking for a guy to pick up, Ricky Rubio is a name you should always have watch listed and consider if you really need that point guard, like just for that one day plug in. That's the type of guy you need, because that, the floor is usually pretty good if he's playing. Like, he'll give you something. It may not be too much, but if you just need someone who's going to, go out there and produce a little bit, Ricky Rubio's the guy out there. And those are my two fringe guys, and hopefully got through it in record time.
That was pretty quick. All right, I'll try and go quick too. Starting off with Eric Gordon. He only plays 3 games this week, so not usually a favorable stream guy, but he plays against the Wizards and the Pelicans, who give a majority of their points up to shooting guards. I forgot to mention Eric Gordon just came off of a really good shooting performance. He had 33 points, I believe, the last game he played. But yeah, he plays the Wizards and the Pelicans, who give a majority of their points up to shooting guards. And he plays the Trailblazers, who are now without CJ McCollum, injury report. He's got a small fracture in his right foot. So he's only owned in 34.5% of leagues. If Eric Gordon's available, look to pick him up. He only plays 3 games, but he's going to get more in those 3 games than other waiver stream pickups are going to give you in 4 games. But not more than these 2 guys that I'm about to tell you about. Jeremy Lamb, welcome back to the NBA, my guy. He's returning to a buzzing Pacers team, even though they just lost in that game I was just watching. Brogdon had a pretty awful game. Sabonis shot 1 for 10. It was kind of wild. But Jeremy Lamb, he is going to eventually, I believe, be a starter on that Pacers team above Justin Holiday. So that's a guy I'm picking up. He plays 4 games this week. I believe Jeremy Lamb has the potential to be a full-time roster on a lot of people's teams, especially if you're struggling 12-team league. Definitely, Jeremy Lamb is a full-time roster spot on a 12-team league. 10-team league, that's a guy who could be a full-time roster spot. Maybe stream him. 8-team league, don't worry about Jeremy Lamb. All right. And then lastly, Naz Reid, who is almost dropped the phone there. Naz Reid, who is the replacement starter for Karl Anthony Towns while he is out with COVID, which is not only a medical issue for him, but a personal issue with him. He went through a lot in the last year. So hopefully he returns healthy. But Naz Reid has been very efficient in his starts with the Timberwolves. He is averaging 14 points per game, 4.3 rebounds, 1.5 assists, almost a steal a game, and 2.3 blocks per game. Just in how many minutes per game? He's doing that in just 27.3 minutes per game. So 2.3 blocks per game in the starts that he's had in just 27 minutes is pretty nuts. That's a really good stat line for a replacement starter, especially on the struggling Timberwolves. Which reminds me, we won't have to get back into this, but Anthony Edwards, this is his time. He should be shining. There's several people out for the Timberwolves. He should be taking his shots. Regardless, Naz Reid is a great streaming option. Definitely pick him up in 12-team leagues. If he fits your schedule and the days that you need to fill a roster spot. All right, so those are guys that you should be picking up. The 5 French guys we got: Eric Gordon, Jeremy Lamb, Naz Reid, Monte Morris, and Ricky Rubio. Those are guys you should be picking up, and these teams have people that you should be dropping to replace those guys with. So the teams that you're going to want to look to drop players from are the Grizzlies. They only played 2 games this week because they had it postponed. Their game got postponed on Monday, so today when you guys are watching this. And then the other teams that you're going to want to drop are Kings players, Knicks players, and Bulls players. They have either 3-game schedules or they have a 4-game schedule, and they're playing really tough opponents. So if you're looking to switch out some players for this week, there you have it. You got your 5 French guys. You got 4 teams that you should be dropping players from. Before we get into closing statements, injury report, Carl, off the top of your head, who you got?
Peyton Pritchard. So he had a knee, ended up being a knee sprain for him. So he is out right now, and I think it's for at least a week or so. They're trying to see how it is, but it looked like he had what was maybe a season-threatening knee injury when he got hurt, and so it's a sigh of relief to see that he's going to be back on the floor eventually and resuming basketball activities within a couple of weeks. So just a guy that is slowly growing into a nice part of the Celtics rotation. Glad to see that his season's not done. That's one guy off the top of my head. Again, I'm gonna say this every single week: COVID. Keep track of the teams that are getting just destroyed by COVID right now. As we mentioned, Memphis had the game postponed today, and we still have to see if there's more tests that come out. The Wizards also are a team that recently just been hit so much by COVID. There's a lot going on with that, and it's just every week it seems like there's another team that's having a bunch of positive tests and games postponed. So right now, if you have matchups that include the Wizards or the Grizzlies, I would just always make sure you have those alerts ready. Those Woj bombs whenever it comes to COVID, because that's a matchup, and that's a matchup killer for fantasy lineups. Because it happened to me a couple times this week. I lost all my Kings players because they played the Grizzlies at one point, and so all of a sudden all that production's gone. So COVID is just as much as something you need to keep your eye on, as along with all the injuries that pop up.
Yep. Another notable guy is Al Horford. He's out with personal reasons for the birth of his child. Markelle Fultz, just another knee injury for him. You hate to see it. Bogdanovich is still out. And then the Grizzlies players are out for at least another game with COVID protocols. So, yeah, just make sure you're keeping up to date with your Woj bombs. But that's pretty much it for the injury report.